The election debate is underway in the United Kingdom. It's a month before polling day. The British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has called a snap election for July the 4th. He's hoping to extend the Conservative Party's hold on power. A recent YouGov poll suggests the outcome will be a Labour landslide. Whoever wins, that's the loser of the polls, whoever wins the election, Chief Executive of British Airways wants policies that help aviation tap into sustainable fuel, SAF. Sean Doyle also told me he's building a bigger fleet and adding long-haul routes. And he wants to do it, and he's got the money.
We've £7 billion earmarked for the next 3 years. That's the biggest we've ever done in our history. Now, about half of that is new planes, but the other half is a new product on board. It's a new technology stack and a new digital experience, and it's revamping the ground experience. So I think it's a big transformation. We're about 2/3 of the way through it in my book, but the exciting phase is coming in the next couple of years.
You've had one major advantage over your predecessors, which is you've been allowed to spend. So where are you going to grow the airline?
Well, I think what we will see happen at British Airways is the rebuild of our long-haul network, and we're taking a lot of long-haul planes back into British Airways, a lot more efficient than the ones that retired, the 747s, with a great product. So we want to kind of, I suppose, build back where we used to fly to, and we've started that already. Bangkok and Kuala Lumpur come back on the network in winter.
But if you look at the geopolitical structures, for example, whether it be Russia, no overflight, whether it be the Middle East, with the problems with Israel and Gaza, your difficulty in managing events is really quite extraordinary.
But yes, and I think we've had 104 years of actually managing through crises. We've had various issues to navigate through. I would say the issues we deal with today are significant, but compared to the pandemic, these are the kind of things that we're well able to cope with.
But the pandemic was existential for the whole industry.
Yes, yes.
In that sense, everybody faced that same problem. What we're now talking about is individual airlines' ability to compete in better times, essentially.
Yes. And I think, the way you compete is going to be basically what you need to do for your customer, and that hasn't changed. But, what I would say, geopolitics, we just have to navigate through these issues, and I think stay flying safely.
Let's take the word geo off and just factor on politics. Are you worried about after the general election?
We need policy certainty. We need support on the path to net zero. I think there's a very kind of exciting set of opportunities for government to seize on in terms of SAF production. And our biggest ask will be, let's lay out some policies that support the aviation transition to net zero by 2050.
Have you had any indication from the opposition, if they become government, that they will change policy or how they will view aviation policy vis-à-vis British Airways?
Yeah, well, I think there is a consistency in terms of what we need to do for aviation. I think the first thing all parties recognise is the importance of aviation to the economic model of the country. I think whoever wins the election, we need to move quickly to legislate on the policies that will unlock things like SAF production in the UK economy.
On SAF, I'm getting weary of hearing everybody say that SAF's too expensive, there's not enough of it, they can't get it, and that policy is not conducive to it. How are you set to get your SAF allowance?
Well, we have a 10% commitment by 2030, which is consistent with the UK mandate. I think what we do need to do is make sure that the UK can build up supply, because other countries like the US are well ahead of us in building production.
Right, but they're using a different method. They're using a different incentivising method under the IRA than, say, for example, the European methods.
Yeah, I'd agree, but Europe is beginning to build plans and get policy together, and it's beginning to use, I think, the reduction in ETS credits to fund investment and capital. So I think, the wheels are moving in Europe. They're moving very quickly in the US. We need to get them moving quickly in the UK.